and whatever you're doing. Is that kosher to have a drink of coffee once in a while?
Totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just two guys having a conversation, so that taking a sip is great.
Okay.
Okay, I think. Okay, welcome to Meet Your Mayor Lethbridge. My name's Alan, or not Meet Your Mayor Lethbridge, Meet Your Mayor Coaldale. Oops. Meet Your Mayor Coaldale. My name's Alan Friesen, and I have with me Jack Van Ryn. And Jack Van Ryn is running for mayor of the town of Coaldale. Jack, you've been involved as a business owner in Coaldale. You've been a huge community supporter in many ways. You've been on town council, but never mayor, correct? This is going to be your first time running for being mayor, correct?
Is that kosher to have a drink of coffee once in a while? So this is my first, let me rephrase that. I ran for mayor in 2017, but lost by 59 votes. And now I'm going to be trying again this coming October 18th.
Nice. And so now there's a lot of time and energy it takes to do this, Jack. Why is Coaldale a special place? Why are the people of Coaldale, worth the time and energy you're going to put into doing this work?
I really enjoy being involved in town of Coaldale happenings. I'm very involved with community groups such as Kinsman. Like you mentioned earlier, I was on council previously from 2013 to 2017. I really enjoyed that. And I've always been an advocate for citizens of Coaldale. Whenever there was a question that they couldn't find an answer to, people would always come and find me, and I would always find them that answer. So it's something that I've always enjoyed doing, and I'm hoping to be able to do that working in a capacity of mayor for the town of Coaldale.
Nice. And excuse me. And Jack, do you have what is your, I haven't looked, what is your platform? What is your campaign based on?
Well, it's similar to what other municipalities are going through as well, but in Coaldale, in the last 4 years, we've had some different, some very, very big issues, all revolving around transparency being the big one, communication and accountability. So the town of Coaldale, we're growing fast, we're doing great. But at the end of the day, when we're doing multi-million-dollar projects, you need to hit the pause button and talk to the residents to make sure that everybody's on board with council's decision-making. So that's a big one for me. It's all going to be about citizens before projects.
Cool. And town of Coaldale, going great community, beautiful place. If you had, though, a magic wand, you're mayor, and you get a magic wand with that posting, and then you wanted to make one change that you could make that would make life better for people in Coaldale, residents of Coaldale, what would that be?
Again, it boils around communication. So for me, whenever there's going to be any kind of a project, more so like a multi-million-dollar project, a good example is the new Civic Square project on Main Street, Coaldale. It's going to be a new town office building, second floor, and then on the first floor is going to be commercial retail space available by a private developer, which is a great project. But that one in particular is going to cost Coaldale taxpayers around $5.2 to $5.8 million. And they're doing all of this without zero communication with its residents. So is that something that we really need in Coaldale at this point, or do we need a new swimming pool? Do we need a second sheet of ice? So the big commitment for myself is communication, and the fact that if I'm elected with the new current council, I don't care what the project is. We're going to have the citizens involved from the get-go to make sure that we have their input before we start making decisions on multi-million-dollar projects. So in answer to your question, Alan, it's about reaching out to our taxpayers and say, hey, are you in agreement with this?
Got it. So more community, what would you call them? Community events to raise awareness about here's the things we're thinking of. What do we need in our community? Here's the options we have. That kind of thing. Am I following you?
That's correct. And Coaldale's administration team is doing quite well in some aspects of that. So an example would be there's a new rec center being built in Coaldale. So they've had several community meetings, open houses where people could go and have discussions about what they would like to see in this new rec facility. And it's going to be a beautiful building. Like I'm totally in favor of it. And so what I'm getting at is when the way it works now is if there's going to be a project coming up and the town needs to have a discussion about it and they need to pass a motion, they have a public hearing component to that. And the public hearing component we might get when I was on council, depending on the project, we might get 10, 15 people out. When you're talking about some projects going on right now, like the one going up on Coaldale's Main Street, it's the biggest project in the history of our main street. And there was no discussion held. So, like an open house, like one thing that I'm going to strive to do with our new council, if elected, is that we're going to have a regular open house at the local community center or wherever that may be, where we're going to have an open microphone and people can come and have a conversation with council. And that's how it used to be. And right now, if you want to talk to a member of council, it can be very painful to connect with somebody unless you catch them in the grocery store and they have no choice but to talk to you.
So the community center open forums kind of a thing. Well, how often are you thinking that's going to happen, Jack? What's your plan there?
Well, depending on what is going on in the town of Coaldale, again, if it's a project that we're talking about doing, we would have those open houses revolve around that. But if there's nothing going on, I would still like to see something like that happen quarterly. Because I think, people have every right to come and speak to their elected officials and say, hey, you guys are doing a great job here, but, on the flip side, you could do way better with this. And they can bring up their concerns and they don't have to worry about trying to get on the agenda for a town council meeting where they can speak their mind. Right.
Okay, cool. And would you envision, I think probably a part of why they're not is that there's why those quarterly meetings are not occurring would be that people would be concerned about very negative comments being exposed in those meetings, right? Like that, I guess that's probably one of the reasons why people wouldn't do those now. But that's kind of part of the process. You got to hear the negative and the positive, right?
Exactly. And, and it's always, when you find out about something after it's happened, that's so disheartening to the citizens. Like here we pay taxes, we have elected officials, and it's their responsibility to communicate with their residents, and that's currently not going on. There is so much going on during council meetings. That they have what they refer to as an open session where the public can participate, and then they're doing most of their business in the closed portion where we don't get to hear anything about what's going on. Again, some of these multi-million-dollar projects, that Civic Square one keeps coming back to me is the fact that was never discussed in an open portion of a council meeting. It was always discussed in closed portions. And they say that they had open houses at the town office. They had some placards up with some information they said in council chambers. Well, if they had, I like to say I'm very connected on social media. I didn't see any of that, and I would have been there in person, and that never happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understood. So communication is your big. Here's what I'm going to do make sure that I'm communicating well with the citizens of Coaldale, letting them know about what's going on, what's planned, getting their feedback, their input, and even if there's not a project coming up right now, basically quarterly like community forums to have people express their views and their visions for Coaldale.
Exactly. Like
beautiful.
council shouldn't have anything to hide, and they should be able to sit down and listen to their residents, either praise them or bring up complaints. So that's
Got
what
it.
we're there.
Well, Jack, I know I have known you for decades, my friend, and you are a beautiful human being who's made a huge difference in Coaldale, who's just like a lovely person and a great. I think you're probably the best grandpa in the world. Maybe you're the best grandpa in the world, man. So I wish you well for your mayor bid. I know that you would serve the people of Coaldale very well, and they would benefit from your being in that mayor role. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And just full disclosure, these public forums will never happen on a Friday because that's Grandpa Day. So I'm tied up that day.
That seems like a reasonable exception. Yes, exactly. Good. Well, anything else you want to add there, Jack?
No, I just encourage everyone to make sure that they get out and vote. There's advanced polls going on in Coaldale. Just look up Jack Van Rijn for Mayor 2021, and I have all the information on my Facebook page, jackvanrijn.ca, on my website. Anybody can phone me. I'll get Alan to put my phone number in the comment section below the video, and feel free. I encourage you to reach out to me. Like, I'm very approachable, and I'll sit down and have a discussion about anything and everything with you.
Perfect. Jack, I hope to, on October 19th, give you a call and say, hey, Mayor Jack, congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that, Alan. It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you, sir. Keep well.